This is in continuation with the influenza virus. Coming to immunity, the first exposure to the primary strain attack, it provides protection of 1 to 2 years. The protection is short-lived or for some time. This is because of the structure of the influenza virus, which undergoes antigenic variation. Then there is a term known as doctrine of original antigenic sin, which is that when the patient or the person is exposed to the first strain, which has dominant antigens, this blue one, and the recessive antigen, the arrow one, then the first antibody response would be against the dominant antigen, and the strong immunity would be produced. But after in later stage of infection, when the dominant antigens become recessive and the recessive antigens become dominant, then during that time the antibody response would be against the primary old dominant antigen, which is now recessive, and that is why the weak immunity or ineffective immunity is produced to handle this exposure, and that is why it is not effective when the dominant antigen is primary dominant antigen is replaced by the new dominant antigen, but the antibody response occurs against the original antigen only. Epidemiology: influenza virus is airborne transmitted respiratory through the respiratory droplets. It can cause pandemics, epidemics, and endemics. Type A causes pandemics, type B causes sporadic and epidemic, type C causes endemic. Winter or monsoon season is suitable for the transmission of influenza virus. There have been many pandemics occurring which have been reported. The severe form of pandemic which occurred was Spanish flu, which occurred in 1918, and it led to 20 million deaths. There is a wide host range of influenza virus, but the native host remains the wild waterfowl, duck, etc. It contains all the serotypes from H1 to 15 and N1 to 9. Apart from this, whale, swine, ferret, equine, cattle, quail, chicken, and even human, they can be in direct contact or indirect contact or direct contact with these animals, but there is a host range restriction with the humans. Now, how did pandemics occur? The first pandemic, which occurred in 1918, which was a severe form, is known as Spanish influenza. Here, it was the H1N1 was the virus which was transmitted from the bird to the human. Here, all the 8 genetic segments which were found in the virus was from the H1N1 strain and avian origin. Then in 1957, Asian influenza occurred. Here, this strain, it reassorted with the new strain, and the red one. The 3 new genetic segments, they were introduced into the strain. This combined with this, and 3 new genetic elements of this was reassorted in this, and this new type was formed, and this is known as H2N2 influenza virus. So this was completely replaced by this. And then in 1968, Hong Kong influenza took place. Here, this strain, H2N2 strain, it reassorted with the other strain, and here 2 yellow ones. 2 new genetic segments, they were introduced from the avian influenza virus, and these 2 segments, this produced H3N2 virus. Now, the next pandemic influenza will depend upon this new strain. So, this was replaced by this strain, and this strain was replaced by this strain, and further this will depend whether what kind of recombination will occur with the H3N2. Either all 8 new genes will be formed, or some of them will contain the previous this virus strain. Prevention and control is primarily by the inactivated viral vaccines or by the live attenuated viral vaccines. Now, both the vaccines can be trivalent or quadrivalent. Trivalent means they contain 2 serotypes of A influenza virus and 1 serotype of type B influenza virus in trivalent. In quadrivalent, we have 2 strains of type A and 2 strains of type B. And this is for parenteral use. This has single use, and these are isolated from the previous winter's outbreak. How they are prepared? They are prepared from the they are grown in the embryonic egg, and then these viruses are harvested from the egg allantoic fluid. Now these vaccines, they can be whole virus vaccine, or they can have some part of it which is called subvariant or subunit vaccine, or surface antigen preparation. In the whole virus vaccine, it contains intact inactivated virus. In subvariant or subunit vaccine, it contains purified virus which is disrupted with detergent like formalin or BPL. Then we have surface antigen preparation, which contain purified hemagglutinin and neuraminidase glycoproteins. Sometimes they are also called as flu shot or flu jab. Universal flu shot should be at least 75% effective, and it should provide protection to both group 1 and 2 influenza viruses. Should have durable protection that lasts for at least 1 year, and should be suitable for all age groups. Another vaccine is live attenuated influenza vaccine. Live attenuated vaccine is live vaccine which is prepared by weakening the virus, and it is sprayed into nostril. It is given by intranasally or by aerosol spray. Both these vaccines, they take around 2 weeks to develop protection after vaccination. Apart from this, we can also use antiviral drugs like amantadine and amantadine. They are effective in preventing infection and illness which is caused by type A but not by type B viruses. And the mechanism of action of these drugs is that they interfere with the virus uncoating and transport by blocking the transmembrane M2 ion channel. This M2 ion channel is not present in B viruses. That is why it is not used for the treatment of type B viruses. So we have inactivated influenza vaccine, we have live attenuated influenza vaccine and recombinant influenza vaccine. Inactivated influenza vaccines are basically can be egg prepared or prepared from the egg or cell culture. Both can be trivalent and tetravalent. So we have egg-based trivalent inactivated influenza vaccine, egg-based quadrivalent inactivated influenza vaccine, cell culture-based trivalent inactivated influenza vaccine, and cell culture-based quadrivalent inactivated influenza vaccine. So this 3 and 4, it represents the number of serotypes it contains, like in trivalent 3 and in quadrivalent 4. CC means cell culture prepared. Then live attenuated influenza vaccine, these are basically used for local immunity, and in this we have both quadrivalent and trivalent live attenuated influenza vaccine. They basically introduce the local IgA antibodies, and this we have temperature sensitive mutants are used which grow only at lower temperature 32-34 degrees Celsius for in the nasopharyngeal mucosa but not in the lungs. These temperature sensitive mutants of influenza virus, they are avirulent and they produce IgA antibodies, local antibodies. Then is recombinant influenza vaccine. In this we have trivalent recombinant influenza vaccine. Here what we are doing is we are recombining or we are hybridizing the old established strain. We are taking the temperature sensitive mutants of the old established strain and hybridizing it with the new antigenic variant strain. In trivalent we have 3 serotypes. We are 1, 2 of type A, H1N1 of type A and H3N2 of type A, and from the B either of them, type B Yamagata or Victoria strain. In quadrivalent we have type A, 2 of type A and 2 of type B. So type A we have H1N1 and H3N2. From type B we have both Yamagata and Victoria strains. Symptomatic management includes cough suppressant, decongestants, paracetamol for fever, salicylates need to be avoided. Antiviral drugs I have already told you, M2 inhibitors are used, amantadine and amantadine, which block the virus uncoating and transport. Neuraminidase inhibitors, we can use oseltamivir and zanamivir. Influenza A is treated with zanamivir or combination of oseltamivir and amantadine. Influenza B is treated with oseltamivir. Supportive management include oxygen therapy, antibiotics and steroids. Another virus, important virus is rubella virus. Now, rubella virus is the only sole member of the genus Rubivirus and family. It belongs to family Togaviridae. Rubella is also known as German measles. Morphologically, this virus is spherical, 40 to 80 nanometer in size. It is positive sense single-stranded RNA virus with spike. It has single spike hemagglutinin containing surface projection, and then it is enveloped virus. So this is the morphology. You can see that this is the icosahedral symmetry of the nucleocapsid. In this we have single-stranded RNA positive sense RNA virus, and then this is enveloped. On the envelope we have glycoprotein hemagglutinin. Pathogenesis. Rubella is transmitted via respiratory droplets. It replicates in nasopharynx and reaches the regional lymph nodes, where it causes viremia 5 to 7 days post-exposure, which spreads to other tissue. Another route of transmission can be from mother to fetus, as it can cross the placenta. It can affect the fetus due to the viremia. Pathogenesis. Rubella virus is transmitted via respiratory droplets. It infects the cell in the upper respiratory tract. From there, it locally multiplies, reaches the lymph nodes, and replicates in nasopharynx. And from there, it can reach to skin, infect other skin and tissues, and also the respiratory tract. Forsheimers spots may develop. These are small, tiny spots, red color, which appear on the soft palate, but they are not specific or diagnostic of rubella, seen in 20% of the cases. It can cause rashes. It can cause cough, and virus can be found in skin, blood, and respiratory tract. In respiratory tract, the patient may complain of cough, minor sore throat, in skin rashes and lesions, lymphadenopathy, in joints, arthralgia, arthritis. In placenta, it can cause inflammation, placentitis. Fetus, it can cause a fetal damage. Rubella symptoms appear normally 14 to 21 days after infection, 2 to 3 weeks. The rash is typical, and it forms first on the face and moves to trunk and then limbs. After 3 to 5 days, it fades and disappears. It can be itchy. Along with this, other symptoms can be stuffy or runny nose, headache, mild fever, red inflamed eyes, nerve inflammation, and large and tender lymph nodes, aching joints. So in this picture you can appreciate the rash. Now rash is seen as a fine pink colored macules which are first formed on the face, then on the trunk, and then on the limbs. Now this is a mild childhood disease, but sometimes it can affect the young infants or people over 40 years of age. Whenever it affects the person with older age, the symptoms are more severe. Rubella is also called as third day measles or German measles. Another important thing is, as virus is able to pass or cross the placenta and move through the fetal circulation, it can destroy the fetal cell or prevent them from dividing. This leads to congenital rubella syndrome. And whenever the pregnant female contracts the rubella virus, it can transmit the virus from the placenta to the unborn child, and 90% of the babies can be born with CRS, that is congenital rubella syndrome, leading to deafness, cataract, and learning disabilities. And 20% it can cause or result in spontaneous abortion, stillbirth, or fetal death. Congenital rubella syndrome is characterized by classical triad of rubella, which is deafness, cataract, congenital heart disease. Apart from this, you can also see conjunctivitis, anemia, hepatitis, developmental delay, retinopathy, unusually small head, microcephaly, lower jaw or eyes, and may involve internal organs like liver, spleen, bone marrow issues, and low birth weight babies. Sometimes some conditions develop later, like autism can occur, schizophrenia, learning difficulties, type 1 diabetes, may develop later. This picture shows the cataract in infant due to congenital rubella syndrome, and right side picture shows congenital rubella syndrome and rubella infection is almost always associated with conjunctivitis. Diagnosis. Clinically, you can see the typical rash which will occur first on face and then trunk and limbs, lymphadenopathy. It suggests the diagnosis of rubella. Otherwise, the mainstay for the diagnosis of rubella is typically bioserologically. Here you can detect the IgM antibodies or fourfold rise in the IgG antibodies. The presence of specific IgM antibodies, it indicates recent rubella infection. Now, congenital rubella in a neonate is diagnosed by virus isolation or blood testing. The affected neonate, it has circulating antibodies. Now, two types of antibodies will be there. IgG antibodies are from the mother, transplacentally acquired from the mother, and actively produced fetal and neonatal IgM antibodies. Usually, the maternal IgG antibodies, they persist for only 6 months of life, and after that they wane off. But if there is persistence of IgG antibodies beyond 6 months, or there is a demonstration of IgM antibody, it is diagnostic for congenital rubella infection, as IgG does not persist for more than 6 months and IgM does not cross the placenta. Isolation and identification. This is another method but not widely used because of the difficulty in culturing this virus and delay in the result, but it can be done. We can use a nasopharyngeal or throat swab which are taken 6 days prior or after the appearance of rash. They are good source of rubella virus, and they are also grown with the interference challenge virus, ecovirus, and growth of rubella can be detected. Apart from this, the viral antigens, they can be detected by using cell culture in shell vial antigen, and you can look for the immunofluorescence. The prevention is by the rubella vaccine. It was licensed in 1969, and what we are using is we are using live attenuated virus vaccine, rubella 27/3 strain. This is prepared by growing it in the human diploid cell culture. It produces protective immunity up to 95%, and immunity is long lasting, and the vaccine is given by subcutaneous injection. Dose is 0.5 ml. Sometimes it can cause some side effects like fever, rash, arthralgia and arthritis. Now this vaccine is contraindicated in immunodeficient people, and also in the also it is not given in the during the pregnancy, and it has to be very sure that whenever a woman is getting this vaccine, she should avoid pregnancy for 3 months. Now this vaccine, the only way to prevent the contraction of rubella is through vaccination. This is given along with measles and mumps. So the vaccine is known as MMR, which is given for combinedly for measles, mumps and rubella. This is live attenuated vaccine, and it is given at 12 to 15 months of age, and the booster dose is given at 4 to 6 years. Any adult who has not yet had the measles, mumps and rubella vaccine should receive it. That's it.